This is a Dhamma talk given by the Venerable Ovadasarya Upandita Biwamsa from the Mahasi Meditation Center, Rangoon, Burma. It's titled, Guidance for Meditators During Their Interview Session. Despite instructions given on how to meditate, there are yogis or meditators who are unable to practice properly and to adequately explain their experiences during interview sessions with the teacher. Some can practice well but cannot describe satisfactorily how they meditated and what they experienced. This essay is intended to help such yogis to properly report to the teacher their meditative experiences during the course of their practice. As to the method of meditation practice, we follow the Venerable Mahasi Sayadaw's basic instructions, beginning with awareness of a primary object, namely the rising and falling of the abdomen as the meditator or yogi breathes. In terms of traditional scriptural explanation, mental and physical phenomena are occurring continuously in the yogi's person at the 6 sense doors. When a sight is seen, the eye that sees and the sight that is seen are physical phenomena, while the resultant eye consciousness, or the mind that knows the sight, is a mental phenomena. Similarly, with the experiencing of sound, smell, taste, touch, and thought, and of bodily movements such as bending and stretching of the arms, turning or leaning of the body, and the taking of steps while walking. Remaining in accord with the Buddha's teaching, it has been instructed that all these experiences should be closely noticed at the moment of their occurrence, with the attempt at not missing even the most incidental of random experiences. Although the instructions are given in very clear and simple language, meditators often encounter some difficulties when they come to follow them in actual practice. To help meditators overcome such difficulties, meditation teachers should explain and demonstrate to beginners how to notice or observe the primary object of attention, how to notice when other or secondary objects of attention like thoughts and reflections appear, when feelings and sensations arise, when external stimuli like sights and sounds impinge on the mind, and when other acts of bodily movement take place. To eliminate confusion and difficulty, a series of maxims and aphorisms have been devised that are easy to remember as a means to clarify the meditation procedure and how to report one's experience during the interview session. The first of these aphorisms is, explain how you notice the primary object of attention and what you come to know from observing it. The primary object of attention to which the mindfulness should be synchronized, as it were, is the rising and falling of the abdomen as the meditator breathes. This is the primary object of meditative attention in the sense that in the absence of any other marked or pronounced object of attention, the meditator should be watching or observing it. The mind should also revert to it when a secondary object of attention has been noticed and passes away. The meditator should be able to explain in detail how they observe the movement of the rising of the abdomen from the beginning to the end of it. As the yogi inhales, the abdomen begins to rise somewhat rapidly and goes on rising as one continues to inhale. When the yogi ceases to inhale, the rising movement comes to an end. When observing or noticing the rising movement of the abdomen, the entire movement should be experienced and known. The scriptural texts urge that this should be made a matter of practice. In Pali, Sabba Kaya Pata Samvedi. What this exhortation means is that all the physical phenomena involved in the entire rising movement of the abdomen, its beginning, its middle, and its end, should be noticed as continuously as possible. The observing mind should fall on and proceed concurrently with the physical movement of the rising abdomen through its 3 stages, the beginning, the middle, and the end. The beginner would not, of course, be able to notice all 3 stages of movement. but they should endeavor to do so. The yogi is urged to practice in this way in order to develop mindfulness, concentration, and balanced effort, which gives rise to insight into the true nature of reality. The meditator should be able to report whether they are able to notice the object with enough concentrative attention, if there is enough concurrence between the object and the noticing mind, and if they are able to notice the movement of the abdomen through its successive phases. If the meditator is able to notice the object properly, what is it that is seen? It isn't necessary that the meditator concern themselves with having to relate other or irrelevant objects of attention, but they should be able to accurately report on the object of their concentrated attention and what is the rising and falling movement as experienced by them in a precise manner. There are two operations involved in this kind of meditative practice or exercise. The first is the activity of observing or noticing the object of attention. The second is the resulting consciousness concerning the object of attention noticed or observed. Only after these two operations will the yogi be able to say what it is that they have seen or experienced. Regarding the primary object of mindfulness, the meditator must be able to say if their resulting consciousness or awareness is concurrent, that is, arises together, with the object of meditative attention, the rising of the abdomen, and its progressive movement. If the two operations are concurrent, that is, they take place at the same time, what does the yogi see? In other words, what does one become aware of? Is it the abdomen itself, the manner or mode of its rising, or the tension and the movement involved in the rising of the abdomen? There are three aspects to the material or physical component of the rising abdomen. They are classified into, number 1, form or shape aspect, number 2, manner or mode aspect, number 3, essential character or quality aspect. The form or shape aspect is the form or shape of the abdomen on which the yogi's awareness is focused. The whole of the yogi's body is the form or shape of the body. As the abdomen is part of the body, it also is the form or shape aspect of the physical element of the rising abdomen. Number 2, the second distinction is the manner or mode aspect. This aspect is constituted by the condition or state of the abdomen at any particular moment. Thus is the abdomen in a flat, inflated, or deflated state. In Pali scriptural terminology, this condition or state is called akara. As another example of akara, is the palm closed into a fist, or is it just an open palm? Another example would be, is the body in a sitting, standing, walking, or lying posture? The third aspect. If the meditator intently observes the abdomen in meditation, they will see, become aware of, that is, either the form or shape or the mode and manner aspect before they actually see the essential character or quality aspect. But seeing the form and manner aspect is not in the domain of Vipassana insight. The yogi must see beyond the form and manner aspects, that is, see the essential character or quality aspect, namely the tension and the motion or movement manifested during the actual rising of the abdomen. If the meditator observes intently, they will see, or be aware of, that is, this character or quality aspect. They must be able to relate accurately and concisely this information during the interview session, but they must say so on the basis of actually seeing it, not because they think they see it. The report must be completely based on their own actual Vipassana insight and experience. The yogi must similarly be able to observe or see and report when they exhale and the abdomen falls progressively. So also when the yogi is doing the walking. In the Pali language this is called chankama meditation. As the leg is lifted, the yogi should attempt to observe concurrently the lifting movement progressively from the beginning to the end of it. While doing so, what is it that is actually seen? Do they see the foot or the manner or mode of its lifting? Or do they feel the foot becoming light and rising upward, or the foot becoming tense and being pushed? The yogi must be able to precisely report on any one of these three aspects. When the foot is moved forward in the course of walking meditation, is the mind observing or noticing concurrently with the forward movement of the foot? Here also, what is it that is seen? Does the yogi see the foot or the manner or mode of its forward movement, or some essential character or quality of this movement, such as the foot being pushed from behind and pulled from in front? Similarly, when dropping movement progressively from the beginning to the end until the foot touches the floor or the ground. If this be so, what is it that is known? Is the manner of its movement, such as the foot becoming light and soft? Is this clear to the meditator? Similarly, with observing or noticing of other objects of attention, such as bending and stretching of the limbs, turning, inclining or leaning of the body, assuming the sitting posture or the standing posture. In regard to these phenomena also, is the meditator able to observe or notice the phenomena concurrently with its manifestation? It is important for the yogi to confine their reporting to the particular object of attention that is being observed in its three aspects as mentioned above, and not to wander off into reporting stray and random occurrences. Meditating yogis should understand what is meant by the following three marks or characteristics of mental and physical phenomena. The first, sabhava lakkhana. The second, sankhata lakkhana. And the third, samanyana lakkhana. Sabhava lakkhana means the specific or particular mark or characteristic of mental and physical phenomena. For instance, hardness or softness, patavi dhatu, or the element of extension, is the particular or specific mark or characteristic of the bone and of the flesh respectively. This mark or characteristic belongs only to patavi dhatu, the element of extension, and not to any of the three remaining elements, cohesion, temperature, and motion. Another sabhava lakkhana is tejo dhatu, the element of heat and cold or temperature. Apo dhatu, the element of cohesion and fluidity, and vayo dhatu, the element of motion, are also sabhava lakkhanas. The particular mark or characteristic of mind is consciousness or the faculty of awareness. That of phassa is coloring the mind and bringing it into contact with another phenomena. That of vedana is the capacity of feeling. Each and every particular mark or characteristic of all mental and physical phenomena has a beginning, a middle, and an end. In Pali scriptural language, these are termed upada, titi, and bhanga. Upada means the beginning or arising of a phenomena. Titi is duration or continuance or proceeding towards dissolution. Bhanga is breaking up of dissolution. These three lakkhanas, marks or characteristics, are called sankhata lakkhana. Sankhata means compounded or conditioned. The third mark or characteristic of all mental and physical phenomena is called samanyana, or general or common characteristic. the impermanence, unsatisfactoriness, and impersonality of all conditioned phenomena constitute their common or general mark or characteristic. In the Pali language, these three marks or characteristics, lakkhana, are termed anicca lakkhana, the characteristic of impermanence, dukkha lakkhana, the characteristic of suffering or unsatisfactoriness, and anatta lakkhana, the characteristic of egolessness or impersonality. These characteristics are common to all physical and mental phenomena. They are therefore designated as samanya lakkhana, common or general marks or characteristics. To restate the essential points, the meditator should try to understand the three characteristics mentioned and explained above, namely sabhava lakkhana, the particular or specific character or property of the phenomena concerned, sankhata lakkhana, the mark or sign of conditionality, namely arising, continuance, and dissolution, and thirdly, samanyana lakkhana, the common or general characteristic. Of these three characteristics, our meditative practice is directed towards realization of the sabhava characteristic of the material and mental phenomena we are observing or noticing. How do we go about our meditative effort to realize the character or property of the phenomenon in question? We should observe or notice these phenomena as and when they arise. Only when we do so will we realize their specific or particular character or quality, and not otherwise. As the yogi inhales, the abdomen rises. Before inhalation, there was no rising of the abdomen. The yogi's mind should go on observing the rising movement of the abdomen from its beginning to its end. Only then would the yogi be able to see the real nature of this movement. What is its real nature, or its character or quality? With the in-breath, the wind goes in, is indrawn. And what is wind? It is the element of tension, the element of movement. It is this real nature of the movement that the meditator comes to see or is aware of. They will see it only when they observe or notice the movement as and when it arises and continues until it passes away. Continuing to apply concentrated and concurrent attention to the object of meditation, that is, the rising and falling of the abdomen, as one breathes in and breathes out, in doing so, the meditator will progressively strengthen their concentrative power. As concentration strengthens, the yogi will no longer see the form or shape of their abdomen, or the mode or manner of its rising or falling. The yogi's insight will go beyond these sights, so to speak, and will enable them to see the tension, the pressure, and the movement involved in the movement of the abdomen which is being observed. As the breath goes out, the tension will be felt subsiding, and the following movement of the abdomen coming to an end as the meditator comes to the end of their exhalation. Similarly, with the movements involved in walking meditation, the lifting of the leg, moving it forward, the dropping and placing it on the floor or the ground. The meditation teacher will not tell the meditator what they are going to see, but will only instruct them in how to observe or notice. It is the same as in the solving of a mathematical equation. The teacher will not give the answer, but will teach and assist the working out of the sum. The same instructions apply in the case of different kinds of bodily movement. Sensations experienced in the body and thoughts arising in the mind, all these occurrences should be carefully observed as and when they arise in order to ensure that their true nature be seen and understood. We have dealt with the first aphorism. True nature will be revealed only when phenomena are noticed as and when they arise. The second aphorism is, Only when sabhava, or true nature, is seen, will sankhata lakkhana, that is, the characteristic of conditionality, become manifest. Meaning, the phenomena being noticed will be seen to arise, to continue, and to pass away. When sankhata lakkhana is seen, samajnana lakkhana will appear. These two characteristics, sankhata lakkhana and samajnana lakkhana, will manifest themselves as a matter of course once sabhava lakkhana has been grasped by the concentrated and concurrent noticing of the object of meditation. When samajnana is seen, vipassana jnana, that is insight knowledge, emerges. After its emergence, vipassana jnana will gradually mature and ripen and will be followed by arya magga jnana, or the noble path knowledge. This will enable the yogi to realize nibbana, and hence will be freed from apaya, the states of sorrow. It should be emphasized that in reporting, the yogi should relate what they have actually seen and not what they think they have seen. While the meditator is sitting in meditation, observing or noticing the primary object of attention, namely the rising and falling movement of the abdomen, various thoughts and objects of mind may occur. This being in the very nature of the mind, which is not subject to control. This mind has a tendency to wander, leaving the primary object of attention and wandering on to a variety of ideas, some wholesome, others unwholesome. At this time, what should the meditator do? The instruction is to be aware of whatever comes into the mind. If you do, does the thinking continue, or does it vanish altogether? Or does your attention revert to the regular or primary object of attention? The meditator should be prepared to be able to report all that takes place in these respects. The next aphorism is, all thoughts observed and known should be related. For one who is just beginning the meditation practice, feelings or vedana are not clear while they are focusing their attention on the primary object. Thoughts are likely to occur. The beginner is not usually able to notice all thoughts that arise. In order to minimize such random thoughts, the beginning yogi should focus their attention as closely as possible on the primary object. Usually when the meditator has sat in meditation for 20, 30, or 40 minutes or longer, certain intense bodily sensations are apt to arise with corresponding vibrant effects on the mind. When such feelings or sensations arise, they should be carefully noticed. When reporting, it is better to describe them in plain everyday language as itching, aching, numbing, or tingling, and so on, rather than in traditional scriptural language as just vedana, or feeling. These feelings, which arise spontaneously, should be noticed in the same manner as above, whether they are intensifying, weakening, stabilizing, or disappearing. So the next aphorism is, all feelings and sensations should be observed, known, and explained during the interview session. What other phenomena are there to be noticed and known? There are sights seen, sounds heard, odors smelled, and flavors tasted. In addition to this, there are phenomena such as liking, disliking, sleepiness and heaviness of mind, distractedness, anxiety, doubt, memory, clear comprehension, attention, satisfaction, delight, tranquility, serenity or calm, ease of meditation, and so on. The Buddha has collectively termed these experiences as Dhamma Ramana, or mind objects. Suppose a liking quality of mind arises. When it is noticed, what happens? Liking is often followed by craving. The meditator should be able to report this. Take another example. The yogi is experiencing sloth or sleepiness and torpor or heaviness of mind. or feebleness of mind. When they notice these states of mind, distractedness arises, often followed by a sense of doubt. What happens when these are observed or noticed in turn? Whenever these mind objects arise, they should be carefully observed and noticed. In summary, the following are the 4 objects of attention in Satipatthana Vipassana Bhavana, that is, insight meditation through mindfulness. 1. Bodily sensations. 2. Feelings. 3. Acts of consciousness. And 4. Mind objects. 3 events occur in such meditation in successive order. The first, arising of the phenomena. The second, observing or noticing of the phenomena that arises. And thirdly, what the yogi comes to see and know. The next aphorism requires all that happens thus to be understood and should be the concern of the meditating yogi. For every object of attention belonging to the 4 categories just explained, it is important to understand the 3 successive events mentioned above. The yogi's concern is to observe or notice that which arises. The aphorism for this is, what arises, what is observed, and what comes to be seen and known should be understood completely and explained concisely and carefully during the interview session with the teacher each time that it occurs.